afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I am reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading Satellite Office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Monday, November the 19th, 2012, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary. I want to first start by taking a look to see how the indices closed today here. The Dow Jones closed up 207.65, the Nasdaq closed up 62.94, and the S&P 500 closed up 27.01 points here. Strongest index across the board today was the Nasdaq, was up 2.21%. You could thank Apple for that, as Apple was up 7.21%. We'll take a look at that chart here shortly, as a follow-through from the reversal candle did stick from Friday's key reversal day that we noted over in the weekend video with that volume, and the bulls followed through with that action today. So let's start off by taking a look at the SPY daily chart here. You can see the SPY daily chart is around some key levels that we have highlighted for you guys. All right, one level that's coming up that's going to be major is this little bottom trend line right here from the breakdown of this nice little downward sloping channel that we had from these little key pivotal points right here. You can see that was a very important inflection trend line about 3 weeks ago or so here, 4 weeks ago, when we were holding that key trend line right there till we finally broke. So now this is going to be like the backtest area, okay? We really got to see if this market can get back above this 140 area. If this market can get back above this 140 area and stabilize a bit, and we start trading up back inside this channel again, well, guess what? That means that anybody that got short the market down here got caught in a potential bear trap down here. All right, but we can't get too excited yet. We have to get back above this 140, as this key trend line is going to act as resistance on this side right here. Okay, to be exact, to give you guys an exact number, that's going to be around the 139.75 level. All right, but I just call it 140. We still have these declining moving averages, so we can't get too excited yet, but just something to keep in mind as well here. Okay, so levels to watch again: 140, 137.65, 140. And then we have this 50-day simple moving average that is declining exponential moving average around 141.22. Then levels to watch the downside. You want to be working off of today's opening price around the 137.90 level. All right, around the 137.90 level. And that's about it for the SPY. Let's take a look at the triple Qs. Awesome day today in the triple Qs. Thanks to Apple again. Triple Qs, this one still has some more resistance to work through. If this thing could bounce up, it's going to have some resistance around the 64.45 area, which coincides with these declining 8, which coincides with this declining 820 EMA and SMA, and also this flat 200-day exponential moving average there. So watch this area on the Qs, the 64.53 area should act as resistance, and then right above that we have 65. To the downside, you want to watch today's lows against this 62.96 area, and then we have the gap filled area from today's gap up, which would take us all the way back down towards 62.30. Let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM, the small caps. Small caps had a nice day too. I mean, small caps, actually, if we had the small caps, the indices that I talked about earlier, IWM, this Russell 2000 was up 2.12% today. So that actually comes in second place if you compare that to the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P 500. So now the IWM's coming right back down here into this nice little downward channel. If you guys recall, this little downward channel that we had in play broke down. We're trying to hold above it right here to finally be cracked last week Wednesday. Nice bounce on Friday and some nice fall through action today here. All right, if we can hold above the 78.65 level or so, and we get back above 79.35 in this 80 area, we have potential to rally back up towards 81, and then we have potentially this little downward, this key trend line could still be in play. Now, it's going to be exciting to see what's going to happen with this market. This bounce is actually going to hold, because then if this holds, that means a lot of people that got short down here are caught in a potential bear trap if you got short below this key trend line that we were trading in before the IWM actually broke down. As you guys know, these downward channels, when they break to the bottom side, usually a lot of stops get hit, and also usually lines up with a key level. Therefore, we get that nice little short selling pressure, that nice little squeeze action to the downside, or should I say sell off to the downside. But now we're back inside the channel, so this sell-off could be a bear trap if we maintain above the 78.65. We start drifting higher. People that got short last week are going to start feeling that pain, and then they're going to have to cover. And we had some short covering today based on the breadth. I mean, take a look at the breadth today here. I forgot to say the breadth, but we had 5,283 stocks advancing. We had 1,012 stocks declining. Take a look at that breadth. It's about a 5-to-1 on the breadth. Sharp rally on the open, and also from the overnight, which basically caused for a nice little short squeeze going into the open. Now, since I was not able to do a midday update video, I can show you guys a couple things that we were watching in the chat room today, and that was this key trend line around this 1377 area. All right, as long as we held above this 1377 area, we're looking to get long, and we had that nice little rally going to the close, and that buying pressure started coming back into the market around, I would say 150 or so, as you can see that volume started to pick up again there, and kaboom, right to the top side action. We broke through all our resistance levels that were acting as resistance before. The past, look, once we went into the open here around 8 o'clock, we started trading higher. 1367 took out 1371, got back above 1375. So you can see how much action we had here, just busting through all these resistance zones and levels that we had this key inflection trend line, broke above it, back test held, and then we were just off to the races here. Again, strongest stock today was Apple, which we'll take a look at that here shortly. Let's go ahead and take a look back at the market now, though. I want to take a look at crude oil. We've been talking about the USO getting above that 32 level. Talked about the USO having this nice little downward trend line in it. And you can see here, USO level, if you're watching this, if you're trading the USO or trading crude oil, in essence, you want to be watching this USO against today's lows around the 32.50 area. We could get some chop action down to the downside and try to fill some of this gap. You can see as every time these commodities bounce up, they never hold their gains that much. But we're starting to see some traction here. And what's the cause of that? And the cause of that is the U.S. dollar, which we mentioned before. But we'll take a look at that shortly after we finish going through these commodity stocks here. Take a look at crude oil futures, up $2.36 today here. Nice little breakout. Again, same pattern that we've been talking about here. It's a nice little downward channel. As you guys know, these downward channels usually resolve to the top side. And we have this nice crude oil back over this key area, $88 a barrel. And if we can maintain above this if we can hold above this 88 level, maintain these levels here, we're going to be looking for crude oil to make a move back up towards 94. Why? Because that was the little prior range of support. We broke down that support, acted as resistance. We broke down some more. So now the resistance level that we're working off of is, say, this little zone right here, 93. And this 94 little area should act as a resistance. So that's the target that we're looking for up there. Looking for some nice positive action in crude oil for the rest of this week going into the holidays. So that's crude oil. Let's take a look at the gold futures chart and the gold miners, and we'll take a look at that key U.S. dollar, guys. That's what it's all about, baby. That U.S. dollar, that we nailed it, and we called these commodities for bounce. Nice chart action in the GLD. Actually picked up in the GC futures here. This is gold contract futures, but we'll take a look at the GLD. Since I know some of you home gamers watch the GLD. Once this gold futures contract breaks over 1740, we're going to get some nice traction. And hopefully we could take out this flattening 50-day simple moving average that has been acting as resistance. I like how, as long as we can hold above the 1720, I like gold. All right, now let's take a look at the GLD, since some of you guys like to track GLD more than the gold futures. GLD, same thing, kind of scenario here, trying to break back above this flattening 200-day simple moving average, which on the GLD is around 168.96, but call it 169. If we take out today's high, it's going to be looking for a move above 168.5, 169. I really think that the GLD could go back towards 174. Why do I say that? If you take a look at the weekly chart here, all right, the weekly chart, nice little downward channel break plays. You guys that have been in the chat room, again, if you have not been to the chat room, it is Wall Street, My Wall Street TV. To get the credentials to log in the chat room, you want to make sure you go to wallstreettrading.com. Fill out the form on the right-hand side for the 14-day free trial of My Wall Street TV, and then you will get the credentials to log in emailed to you immediately after you fill that form out. So anyway, the GLD on the weekly chart here, nice little up move that we had on the week of November the 5th. Pause week last week, and now this week we're going to be looking for that continuation move. Once we take out this 168.54, should give a nice little trigger for some longs to get involved here for a move back up towards this 172 area. If everything plans out, you can see how the monthly chart still remains in a nice little uptrend. All right, so what's the catalyst to this action we had in commodities today, this market bid? Well, all thanks to the almighty U.S. dollar. You guys know we've been tracking this level here. Been talking about this 81.50 area being a resistance. And now guess what we have in play? A possible rising upward channel that if it breaks to the downside, we're going to see this market take off. We're going to see these commodities catch a bid again. And I'm not sure what the catalyst is to this is going to be, whether it be that they come up with a fiscal policy or the fiscal cliff scenario, work out a deal and the dollar gets sold off for some reason, or something happens out of Europe, or something happens out of the Gaza Strip, whatever the case may be. If this dollar moves lower, the next support level on this dollar future is going to be around here, around 80.25. And if this goes down, Rob is going to be looking for another pop in the markets and another pop in some of these commodities that are catching a bid. All right, and let's take a look at the hourly chart. On the hourly chart, we mentioned that we had this nice little rising bear channel. Sorry, not bear channel. This nice little rising bear wedge on the dollar futures chart. We got that breakdown on last Wednesday, but then after we sold off, they bought the dollar right back up. That caused for that nice little sell-off right back in the markets when we had that nice little up day. What day was that? This was on Wednesday. Sorry, that was actually on Tuesday. All right, and last week Tuesday was when we had, you can see here, last week Tuesday, let me zoom into my little channel system here on the ES. We had that nice little up action on the ES, then we gave it all back, and that's when we caused that had that nice little sell-off again on Wednesday. And again, if the market would have held this little back test that we had right here on Tuesday, we would have seen the dollar sell off a little bit earlier. But guess what? They have to do the little shake and bake action. So what did they do? What did they do after trapping some longs above this key level here, making the market go down a bit? You guys can see my key trend line that I have highlighted right here in black, right in my channel system. So they trapped some longs here above that key trend line. Right, you can see how that key trend line was acting as resistance, and guess what? They know that everybody has their stops on the U.S. dollar, say above this level right here, right? So what did they do? One little last shakeout that took place on Friday. All right, one little last shakeout to shake out anybody that was short the dollar that had the stops above here. Obviously, you know how they love to do, shake people out. Shook out a lot of people, got a lot of people caught in that dollar short, or anybody was trying to short the dollar a little bit earlier. And then now we're back below this key trend line that I have highlighted here, which you can see in this little shaded area. All right, and now we're back below this key trend line. All right, and the dollar sold off, and we actually broke the bottom of that trend line down here as well. And now the dollar is looking like it's going all the way back down towards, if you ask me, towards 80.40 on the dollar futures in the near term. So that's the catalyst, guys. I mean, then you crank on the system in Apple, AAPL, get the Qs moving, and Apple's right back at it. Now, Apple needs to get back above this 570 level here. Okay, if Apple could get back above this 570 level, that would be pretty nice, for the fact that if you take a look at some of this key trend lines that I have drawn on the chart here, all right, that 570 level was a nice support level that was holding. It actually broke. So now we're going to see this. If this thing could get back above 570 and hold, then this could be a little shakeout in Apple, and we could maybe make a move back up towards these 610, 620s. We'll have to wait and see. But you can see that a lot of buyers came in Apple today. Nice little strong bullish candle. Nice up day in Apple. Amazon up $4.48 today. All right, nice little bounce area. Running right into our little support zone. Okay, now nobody traded Amazon on the desk, but it was another stock to go to if you're looking to get long some of these large cap techs. Since Apple was running, Amazon would have been the second choice to go to, along with Google. Now Amazon gave back, but Google and Apple closed strong. So we're going to see if those have some follow through tomorrow. Now let's talk about these energy stocks, because the energy sector, some of these stocks are getting a bounce from these deeply oversold levels. Oxy, OXY, one of my favorite ones to trade, had a nice little bounce today. Still has a lot of damage though, because it's below this key level, the 77 level, and at the same time it's below these moving averages. Exxonmobil had a nice little bounce today, up $1.22. Nice little reversal kind of hammer action there on Friday. CBSX, ConocoPhillips. So finally some traction is coming in these energy stocks. And these energy stocks will catch a bid and start holding up. You guys got to remember, the S&P 500 has a lot of energy stocks in it, has a lot of financials in it, and so and so. But the energy sector is heavily weighted in the S&P 500 as well. So these energy stocks will start turning around. This market could have some more legs behind it for this bounce that it has gotten. All right. Now, what else do I want to take a look at? Let's take a look at the volatility index. Volatility index always gets smacked down. In the weekend video, I talked about how we could go back here and get an official retest of this little broken trend line, this little key channel that we broke out of right here. We kind of came near the area, but we did not get an official back test of that key trend line. And even today, we did not get an official back test. So we could have some more downside in the VIX. Now, check this out, guys. If the volatility index hangs below 15, all right, and breaks below 15, then gets back down here, this 40 14 area, sorry, then breaks below 14, we break down this low right here, then I would say the markets are going to go back up, because this would have to assume that there's no fear in the markets. But we'll see. I probably think that we kind of hold near this 14 area, and that we have maybe one more update tomorrow. Then we have some people that try to pick up volatility and try to short the market on this little bounce that it has, and we'll have to see what happens from there. So that's what the volatility index is looking like. That's what the market's looking like. Every stock was up across the board today. So tomorrow you have at least a little bit more clues to see what stocks are going to hold these gains that they made today, and which stocks are going to get faded. All right. So that's about it, guys. Hope you guys had a great trading day today. Be in the chat room tomorrow morning at 8:15. If you have not been to our chat room yet, you want to make sure you go check it out. A lot of good stuff, whether you're options trader, futures trader. We trade them all depending on when the stuff obviously sets up. And that's about it, guys. WallStreetTrading.com. If you're a prop trader looking to get better commission rates, contact me at cooper@wallstreettrading.com. I can guarantee lower rates to make sure that you can run your business more efficiently. And if you're a trading group out there looking to get lower commission rates for your trading group, contact me as well. And a lot of stuff going on, guys. Hope you guys have a great holiday shortened week. If you're not trading this week and you're traveling, have a great time with your family and friends. And I'll catch you guys mañana. Have a good night. Cheers.